in this video, I'm going to be going over the worst guns by class. So it's going to be one gun from each class, including DLC weapons. But that's all I got for now. Enjoy the video. Alrighty, here we go. So for the first class, we have assault rifles. And there's actually a lot of bad and underrated guns in the assault rifle class. But the FAMAS successfully fails at being the absolute worst. When I started making this video, I was kind of leaning towards the AN94. And then I actually used the FAMAS. Don't get me wrong, the AN94 is still hot, spicy garbage. But the FAMAS is just a cut above or below or something. It's bad. You can be good with the FAMAS if you have really good aim and hit some pretty cool clips with it. But the problem is that since it's burst, if you miss your burst, or if the first one doesn't kill, you're toast. The FAMAS does wreck in hardcore, but since like pretty much every other gun does too, more or less, that doesn't count. I made the mistake of trying to use the FAMAS in cranked on shipment, and that worked out about as well as you can imagine. Probably never going to touch the FAMAS again. Alright, next up we have everyone's favorite class to hate, shotguns. Without a competition, it's the VLK Rogue. Prepare for a rant. I actually think the devs put this in as a joke. It's so pathetically bad. I have to imagine that the employee that came up with this as a good idea and whoever approved it had to have been stoned out of their minds or drunk. Like, the range that it hit markers at is so ridiculously close, you'd be better just knifing them at that point. Even when you build it for max range, yes, I know it isn't built for max range and the clips on screen, shut up. Even when it's built for max range, it still has terrible range compared to other shotguns. The only slightly redeeming factor, I guess, is the movement speed, but that doesn't really count for much when you can't kill somebody once you get to them. So, the SMG class is actually shockingly balanced, I mean, compared to other classes. And while there's some that are obviously better than others, Uzi, there really isn't any gun here that isn't usable. However, there is one gun that is supposedly an SMG that sucks at its job. Hey Shogun, why'd you say supposedly? Well, I said supposedly because AUG. That's literally it. The AUG is horrible as an SMG. Even with the 9mm rounds, it has such a slow rate of fire, and then you combine that with a poor handling and damage that it puts out, and it's hot, succulent garbage. Now, if you build it like an AR mutant thing, it's actually not bad, and you can see the clips in the background against CX9 users on shipment. It's not a bad gun then, but the problem is that it doesn't function as an SMG. It's going to get beat by like every other SMG at close range. It functions way better if you play it like an AR, and that's the main reason why I'm putting it at the bottom of the tier list for SMGs. Actually, I'm just going to leave the AUG clips rolling, and let's just knock off a few categories here real quick that I don't feel like flashing gameplay on the screen for. The worst LMG is the Holder. It has terrible damage for an LMG and can't compete with really anything. The SA-87 is pretty bad too, but at least it does damage you would expect from an LMG. Melee weapons, it's the knife. Sorry, both the Kali sticks and swords are just better in most situations. Launchers. Do I even have to do this one? Like, is it not obvious to everyone? Alright, fine. In a shocking twist no one saw coming, it's the Strela. Anyone who grinded for Damascus hates this launcher with a hot burning passion for a good reason. It's garbage. And moving on to pistols, the worst one is easily the 1911. And I know if I don't address this, people are going to be like, well, what about the 357s? The base 357 is way worse than the 1911. But the thing is that you can actually build the 357 to be disgustingly good at close range if you put snake shot, or even if you just run them akimbo. It turns it into like a pocket shotgun. The 1911s though, you can't really do much with. Even if you put lightweight trigger on, they still have a maddeningly, I got it, let's go, I got the word, vocabulistics, boys. They have a maddeningly slow rate of fire, and combine that with the ammo capacity of a jar of change, they're terrible. On an unrelated note, bank employees don't really appreciate finding ammo when they're putting change through the counting machine. Don't ask me how I know that. Anyway, where was I? Oh yeah, Marksmen Rifles. It's a crossbow. Like, come on. It's fun to use, but it's got one shot and a really long reload time, so it just isn't viable. It is hilariously fun to use against sweats and just on shipment in general, especially if you put like thermite or tear gas on or something. It's fun to use. It's a really fun gun, but it's only got one shot. Like, come on. And next up we got snipers, Marksmen Rifles, jacked up older brothers. Except one. The Dragunov. It's ew. Like, I don't know another word to describe it other than ew. It's like a worse, somehow, version of the EBR. The EBR is terrible, and somehow the Dragunov managed to be even more rage-inducing to use. And, if you'll notice, in the clips on screen right now, I'm using the Plague Sword blueprint. That's because without the blueprint, the base scope on the Dragunov is so bad, it makes the gun feel 10 times worse than it already is. With the Plague Sword blueprint, you do get a pretty good scope. It doesn't make the gun good, it's just less painful for the user. P.S. If you do want the blueprint, it's the final reward for the best of the best mission, which is also pretty worth doing because you get Doge! And Doge is awesome. And with snipers done, that's the last class. I mean, there's primary melee, but that's literally just one thing, and that's the riot shield, so, like, really? But yeah, that's all I got for today. I know I haven't posted a video in a little bit, basically because I've been burnt out making Modern Warfare videos. I don't want to just keep putting out the same kind of garbage that everyone else is right now. Like, not that it's garbage, but it's already been made so many times. Like, all the videos being released right now have been the same videos that are being released over and over and over again for the past, like, year. It's such a saturated content market, and I just don't want to be making the same thing as everybody else. So I've been kind of trying to get on Splitgate, but as anybody who's been trying to get on Splitgate knows, 2-hour queue times. I actually did get in once, and I was recording, but I was one of the lucky people to get a matchmaking glitch where I couldn't actually matchmake or cancel matchmaking. The only way to cancel matchmaking was to exit the game back into the 2-hour queue from the beginning. So yeah, that was fun. So moving forward, I don't really know what's going to be going on. I don't really have much planned, but I am going to be releasing videos. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to be releasing videos. I'm going to try to get on the Splitgate, try to make a Modern Warfare video on the CX-9, which is really fun to use. So maybe try that in search, get some fun videos out. But yeah, catch you guys in the next one. It's been Shogun. Deuces.